Greetings, friends, and welcome to the Torch Library, where light is shed and truth is told. I'm John Hancock, your host of the Torch and the Torch Library. And today I would like to share with you a special project that I helped to organize and execute with BYU and the Wheatley Institution, or now called the Wheatley Institute, when I was working there in 2019. So as part of this project called the Civic Education Project, I was invited to participate with my dad. I helped him to edit his small pamphlet or primer on education and founding. And this is what it looks like. Education and Founding. And my dad wrote this, and we, at the Wheatley Institution, with the help of some friends there, I edited this little booklet, and it's a great introduction to the founding and to education and the purpose of education. And I've read this entire pamphlet, excluding the questions, because there's key insights and questions at the end of each chapter. But I read through this on a YouTube video, so I'm going to share that link in the comments or wherever you can find it, so that you can listen to it if you'd rather just listen to it, because this hasn't been published yet. I think it would be great to publish it, but I just wanted to share with you a little bit from the table of contents so that you know what it's about. And this is something that I would recommend to every American citizen. So on the Wheatley Institute Civic Education Project, my dad and I and some other employees at the Wheatley Institution, as it was then called, and a group of high school educators, we went on a trip together to Philadelphia to visit some historic sites and to learn about the importance of civic education. And this is one of the resources that we gave to each of the teachers. And we had a class every week to prepare for our trip to Philadelphia. And it was a great experience, culminating, as I recall, we went to some sites like Valley Forge and other places in the region. So just as a short introduction, I want to read from the table of contents. We also provided them with another booklet that we compiled. It's primary sources for civic education for this project, to basically to help teachers to know what to teach and for civic education for their students. And these primary sources, I'd like to also read from this table of contents, because together these two booklets I think are very helpful. And I think they should be published and distributed to every American citizen. Every educator, every teacher should know about these, read them, study them, share them with their students. I think they're that good and that important. So in Education and Founding, that my dad wrote, from the table of contents, there's part 1 is the introduction. And chapter 1 is the intimate link between political foundations and education. Chapter 2 is civic education for loyalty and leadership. Then there's a part 2, reason and experience in foundings. Chapter 3, America's foundations, rational, moral, and religious. Chapter 4, immoderate reason in the French Revolution. Chapter 5, Reason and Experience, America's Foundations and Roots. So if you're interested in education, in America's foundations and roots, in the French Revolution, in the American Revolution, and if you're interested in America and freedom, I just recommend this booklet to you. Part 3 is Equality and Moral Liberty. Chapter 6, Civic Education and the Problem of Equality. Chapter 7, The Founders' Equality, John Locke and Religion in America. Chapter 8, Reason, God, and the Common Good in Two Revolutions. Chapter 9, Benjamin Franklin's Democratic Morality. We visited Benjamin Franklin's house, or a museum there, and we read a book by Gordon Wood on the founders, and I'll probably think of the title. I think it's called Revolutionary Characters. Yeah, Revolutionary Characters, which is a great book too, that I would recommend to anyone who's interested in the foundations of our country. Part 4 of this booklet that my dad wrote is Moderation, Structure, and Character in Constitutional Design. And Chapter 10, Compromise, Moderation, and the Limits of Reason. Chapter 11, Structure and Character in Constitutional Design. And then Part 5 is Religion, Freedom, and Character Education. Chapter 12, Religion and Freedom in the Constitutional Republic. And Chapter 13, Religion and the Constitution. And Chapter 14, Civic Education and the Founding. So that's the table of contents there. Just to give you an idea of what this contains. And it has, at the end of each chapter, it has key insights, questions, things to help you think about the material. And so that's the Education and Founding pamphlet. And there you can kind of see it with the reflection. And so my dad is a professor of political philosophy at Brigham Young University, where he's taught since the late 80s. Before that, he taught at Hillsdale College in Michigan, where I grew up as a child with my brothers. It's also where I went to school later, got my master's degree in the same thing, in political philosophy and American politics. And so those are some of my dad's credentials and my credentials of a little bit of my background and his background, and why I think these things are important. So from the primary sources that we compiled with the help of friends at the Wheatley Institution, now called the Wheatley Institute. This is again for the Civic Education Project in 2019, just prior to the fake pandemic. So from the table of contents, this is a compilation of primary sources. This contains, I'll just show it to you here and then read it to you. So these were the required readings for our civic education project. The early foundation documents, and these are selections from these texts: Benjamin Franklin autobiography, Declaration of the 13 United States of America, the Declaration of Independence, and from the Federalist Papers, Alexander Hamilton, Federalist 1, Federalist 9, John Jay, Federalist 2, James Madison, Federalist 10, Part 1 and Part 2, and Madison, Federalist 51 and Federalist 49, and then Hamilton, Federalist 78 and Federalist 84. So a lot from the Federalist Papers, and that's actually something that I studied in depth at Hillsdale College, and Hillsdale College also has a great online course on the Federalist Papers, taught by my teacher at Hillsdale College, R.J. Pistrito, I highly recommend that course to all Americans, all American citizens. And also the Federalist Papers. It's one of my favorite books, one of the greatest works of political philosophy, and one of the greatest American books. And we're currently reading that in the Provo Great Books Club, which I'm sure that I'll share things that we're reading in the Provo Great Books Club. We recently finished reading Marilyn Robinson's books, Housekeeping and Gilead, but now we're starting into the Federalist Papers. I'll just show you here some copies of the Federalist Papers. We're reading in the Provo Great Books Club. We're reading the edition, the Signet Classics edition here, and we've just begun. So you can join us if you're interested, and I'll provide some information about the Provo Great Books Club as well. So we just finished, like I said, the Marilyn Robinson, and now we're into the Federalist Papers, which we've read the first 5 Federalist Papers. And this week we're reading Federalist 6 through 9, 11 through 12, and 10 and 14, and also some of the Anti-Federalist papers. So again, the Signet edition is what we're using in the Provo Great Books Club. At Hillsdale College, we use this edition, the Gideon edition, which was heavily annotated here, and the Anti-Federalist here. So those are some of the primary sources that are in this this pamphlet that we prepared for the Civic Education Project at BYU. There's also Founding Perspectives on Education from Thomas Jefferson, Notes on the State of Virginia, Noah Webster on the Education of Youth in America, Benjamin Rush of the Mode of Education Proper in a Republic, and James Madison to Thomas Jefferson. And then some Founding Perspectives on Religion, again from Notes on the State of Virginia, the Northwest Ordinance, James Madison to Edward Livingston. And then there's an appendix of recommended reading. So those first readings were the required readings, and these are the recommended, just selections from John Locke, Daniel Shute, John Tucker, John Adams, Edmund Burke, and then more from the Federalists, James Madison, and Federalists 37, 39, 43, and 55, and also his memorial and remonstrance. And then from George Washington, a circular to the states, the first inaugural address, and the farewell address. Again, these are just selections. And then at the end, a selection from Alexis de Tocqueville's Democracy in America, and Abraham Lincoln's Springfield Lyceum address, the Gettysburg Address, and the first inaugural address. So those are some of the primary resources that we used. So again, Education and Founding, and the primary resources, which I hope can be published someday and distributed, and maybe we can find a way to do that. But I've read this out loud on a YouTube video that I'll provide a link to, so you can just listen to it until we have it in a hard copy that we can distribute. So I just wanted to introduce those books and those pamphlets and invite you to check them out. Also, if you'd be interested to join the Provo Great Books Club, we have a good solid group of about 5 or 6, 7 people that meet every Wednesday online, and also in my friend's home where he directs the Provo Great Books Club. So that's that for Education and Founding, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next video for the Torch Library. Thanks for watching.